When we take on improvement into our lives, it's important that we remember that we move towards what we are looking at. I'm Amanda Zimmerman. I'm a Lean Six Sigma or continuous improvement mentor, but I've also been all over the world. I've traveled a lot. I've had a lot of different experiences from Antarctica to Europe to Africa to the United States to Texas and California. And I've seen a lot of different challenges and worked with teams to improve those, as well as doing a lot of self-improvement. And one of the tips that I have for you today that I want to share is that you move towards what you're looking at. So if you go back in time, let's think back to when you first learned to drive. Now, I had a driving instructor that came with me, that sat in the seat next to me, that had that secondary steering wheel so that he could hit the brake and the gas. And as we took off, as we drove down the street, I was very, very nervous. I'm sure many of us are. And at the end of our session, he had me drive onto the freeway. This was terrifying. My mom hated the freeway. She would avoid it at all opportunities. One time we accidentally got on the freeway. She had a meltdown. We had to pull over. At 13, I had to talk her back onto getting off the next off-ramp. So when the instructor told me to pull onto the freeway, I was terrified. But I went down the ramp, I merged into the freeway, and then I saw an accident coming up on the side of the road. And it interested me. We get distracted by these things. We see something's happening, someone's pulled over, something's going on. What is it? We're curious creatures, we want to know. And the instructor said, pay attention to the road. Pay attention to the road. Look at the road, right? And I looked back at the road and I hadn't even realized that as I looked at this accident, I was drifting in that direction, right? And this is what happens when we drive, is we start to drift in the direction of what we're looking at. But it's not only when we drive. It's not only when we drive. No matter what we're doing in life, we move towards what we're looking at. So when you think about the different goals that you have in life, the different things that you want to achieve, where you want to be associated with things, you need to identify those things. You need to call out those things because you're going to move towards what you're looking at. If you're always looking at the things that don't serve you, all the things that are wrong, all of those problems, all of those challenges, all of this bad stuff. If we keep our focus on that, we're going to keep moving towards that. We're going to keep moving towards that accident. But if we keep our eyes on the road, if we keep it focused on what our destination is, that's where we're going to move towards, whether or not we even mean to, whether or not it's just that drift accidentally that we're starting to move to. Now, I know this is true, and I know this is true because I've used it, I've changed my life using it, and I've been able to achieve some really big goals by making sure that I understand what I want to achieve and where I want to go. So what I want you to do is go ahead and identify maybe 3 to 5 things that really you're passionate about, that get you excited, that get you out of bed in the morning, that you would want to have more of in your life. For me, I really love whales. You can see here I have my little whales here, right? I love whales. I love travel. So those are things that I have highlighted in my life so that whether or not I realize it, I move towards those things. Right? So in the same way, even if it's as general as something like that, I want you to identify 3 to 5 things that really mean something to you. And keep those in mind. Maybe put them on Post-its, put them up on the mirror next to your bathroom sink where you brush your teeth every day. And so that way you continue to move towards those things that you are looking at, which means that you stop looking at some of those maybe more negative things that are easy to come into our minds.